Hey everyone, in this demo we're going to look at the new agentic shopping experience that I created. It's a slight enhancement to the agent that we had last time, which was just comparing in open tabs. So here I created improved Chrome extension where you can just come here and think of any products that you are considering to buy. So let's say in this case, let me just type in computer chair. So you don't need to buy the product right away, but sometimes we all have things that we need to buy in mind, but we don't have time to sit and research for each of them. So this takes care of all the research work as well. So in this case, I'm planning to buy a computer chair. I just want to kick off research. So what this does is it follows that I usually do, the steps that I usually do: go to Amazon, look at all the products, ignore the sponsored products, look at, let's say, 10, 15, 20 of the products otherwise. And then I try to go into each of those individual products, try to compare the details of, let's say, maybe the top 3 or top 4 products. So the agent does all the steps by itself. And once it finalizes, let's say, the top 3 products, then it uses an LLM to do an individual analysis of these products, let's say the top 3 products, and then it uses a second step agent to come up with a final recommendation winner of these 3 products. So given the research is running, I'll also show something cool that's happening behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, we are actually doing 2 LLM calls. One is to do an individual analysis of the top 3 products. The second is to do a comparison of the top 3 products, which is an output of the first agent. So there are 2-part agent. One is the individual product agent. The second is the final recommendation agent. So this is an LLM gateway. So all of us face throttling issues when we are trying to use LLM APIs behind the scenes. So what this LLM gateway does is it takes care of all this complexity about requests per minute, requests per day. So this is the order I've given, that first try to do with Gemini Flash. If that fails or throttles, then go to Gemini Lite, Flashlight. And then if that's also not available, go for Gemini Gamma model. If that also throttles, go for NVIDIA DeepSeek model. And then if all of this fails, use my Olama local model. So that's the follower guidance that I've given. And here you can see that as we speak, there are 2 calls that are made. One is, of course, the individual model. And you can see that smartly, because this was throttling, it directly went to Flashlight for the second LLM call. So it looks like both these calls were successful. Let me go back and look at the shopping agent. So here you can see that the analysis is complete, and it also has the top recommendation of the product. I can tap on this to actually look at the detailed analysis as well. This is very similar to the first agent. In case you have already seen, it goes through all the individual products and it compares the products based on the criteria that I have set. And as users, you can also configure your own criteria, looking at customer sentiment, reliability, value for money, feature completeness, and build quality. Considering all these aspects, the first agent does this individual analysis, and the final agent comes up with the final recommendation on the top. Comparing across product, it recommends why this stands out, and it also compares why it's better than some of the other top competitors that we have here. So that's a quick summary of the demo here. And of course, there's some more enhancements to do. For example, I want to kick off these entry points right from my mobile itself as a WhatsApp integration. So whatever I have in mind, I can just kick off these research agents right away from my mobile. And you can see here, all the past histories is documented here as well. So the other quick new learnings as part of this project I want to slightly touch upon in case you're curious is behind the scenes. We already saw the LLM gateway that was in action. We also use Pydantic to kind of control all the data formats. For example, all these interactions across agents is actually governed by proper data classes. For example, the value output of the first agent, output of the second agent, all of this is governed by a proper data class, because LLMs are notorious for sharing some of the extra content, conversations, extra comments, things like that. So whereas we want to be very specific on what we need from the LLM at any given point in time. So all these data validations is really key when we are building a multi-agent uh, um, apps. The second is Pydantic also takes care of a lot of the JSON operations. It'll try to convert from your data class to JSON and back to data class, as well as it'll help you to validate whether data that you're getting is actually following as per our format that we have defined on the top. The other part is also structured prompting. We are trying to use some of these aspects, explicit calling out reasoning so that it kicks off the reasoning, structured output so that it's in line with the Pydantic schemes, tool invocation, clearly defining what you need to do versus what you shouldn't, conversations in the loop, instruction framing, clearly calling off what is the trade-off that you need to do, and explicitly asking it to do a self-check, reasoning awareness, mentioning about what it's reasoning versus what it is not, and as well as finally doing a check of if some error is happening. So here you see this is the first system prompt, the product agent um, prompt that we have, the system prompt, the user prompt, and some of the API configurations that we have. You see here there are options like caching a prompt, reasoning, and thinking. So we also had a prompt evaluation assistant. So basically this is the same aspects that we have here. We pass this entire prompt to get a validation of whether it's actually passing or not. And similarly, we have the second agent, which is the recommendation agent. Once the products are individually scored, the final recommendation agent compares all of this. So here we are giving explicit instructions on, hey, you need to look at the scores of your previous thing and then look at coming up with a final recommendation. Again, you see that it's kind of passing all the success criteria that we're seeing. So that's the end of this demo. Thanks for watching.